phone up. Suddenly, you know, 28 speedlings run across the map and you're dead. Like, that has happened so many times. It's really hard for Protoss to scout, so I don't mind that too much, but I felt on a certain point when he had the wall up and he had the recall available, it would be at least okay for him to poke out and get an idea of what he was playing as. I felt he gave a little bit too much freedom and too much time to viOLet.
Oh, that's a great point. And honestly, we're getting some hints in the game chat, pre-game lobby. He's saying 11-5 can't win is actually what he said. So the positions on that map was 11-5.
Yeah.
So he was not too excited.
Yeah, maybe he was just not mentally very confident that he could actually win this game.
Because I mean, in the beginning, he said bad map. So.
I mean, it is hard, but with the phase of the game that was in, I actually think he had a reasonable shot. It's still a very difficult map for Protoss, no doubt, especially with those spawning locations, but I felt there was more for C that was possible.
All right, here we go, guys. Game number 2 in this best of 5, the final semi-final of Lone Star Clash 3. The winner of this best of 5 will advance forward to play against Jaedong and be one of 4 players left in this tournament. In the top left-hand location, I proudly present your red Zerg player, viOLet. And his opponent in the top right-hand location of Habitation Station. He's down 0-1, he has some work to do. Give it up for Seed.
Habitation Station, an interesting map, of course, one of the maps that Seed most likely has a little more experience on than he had on Way Station, as this map has been around for a little while, and we all kind of know how to play it. But we also know that Habitation Station is a map that plays out different than the majority of the other StarCraft 2 maps. And I wonder if Seed has anything special planned, maybe like a 1-gate fast expand to the gold. I don't know if he's that type of Protoss, but if he is, I would love to see where he's going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussions on this map as far as the gold bases are concerned and how they can be correctly utilized. You see a lot of Zerg players sometimes even take their first expansion there. Actually, we saw Jaedong earlier in this tournament build a hatchery at his opponent's natural expansion, which was pretty funny, but we're not seeing that here from viOLet. So we're seeing a relatively straightforward opening, but yeah, I'm curious too. Seed is down 0-1. He has some work to do. He needs to reach into his bag of tricks, perhaps, to try to tie this up 1-1. You definitely don't want to go down 0-2 in a best of 5.
No, that would be very difficult. Then again, you know, Seed already seemed like he wasn't very confident in Way Station. I kind of wonder why he didn't veto it. If he feels that bad about 11-5, I'm not sure what the map veto was, but I believe he vetoed Alt-Azim, if I recall that correctly. Of course, Alt-Azim can be really difficult as well, but it could also be reasonable. But look at viOLet's opening, by the way. I already love this. You know, you are playing a best of 5, a lot of mind games come to the party as always. viOLet in the first game busts out a 10 pool. In the second game, he goes for the most economic way possible, and he goes double hatch before pool.
Yeah, there's that third hatchery. Very macro-minded viOLet. He loves getting to the late game and has a lot of fun with multitasking stuff. Now, Seed, as far as direction is concerned, obviously we see no Nexus just yet. Really prioritizing the 1 base for a bit here, which is, you know, a little bit unusual, some might say, for the PvZ matchup. It's kind of forcing himself to get some damage done.
Wow.
Actually getting a Stargate on 1 base too.
This is really unusual,
yeah. A PvT build or a PvP build.
Yeah, maybe you forgot to check the race to find it. This is not something we see very often. The good thing about this, of course, is that, you know, if this goes undetected, this, what I expect to be Oracle, if it's anything else, definitely. I'd be super, super surprised. It's going to arrive so much sooner than it normally would, or maybe even saves up for 2 Oracles, that he, you know, he might arrive before a single Spore Crawler is down, and that Stargate has even been spotted, so he might be able to kill the Queen.
Oh, he spotted the Stargate?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he is most likely going to spot it, and then I feel that this is already a questionable decision. Yeah. Habitation Station is not really the best map ever to hide information from for a Zerg player.
And we're going to see him scout the Stargate there, and also there's an Overlord there at the natural, just seeing the lack of an expansion. So viOLet is pretty much able to have the perfect read on what his opponent is doing, preparing by putting those Spore Crawlers in the mineral lines, a Zealot, a Lone Zealot, and a Militia Core coming to that 3rd base. And that shouldn't be too much of a headache considering we have a Queen popping up there. And of course, viOLet has plenty of ability to build those Zerglings.
What a bizarre opening over here from Seed. I mean, I've watched a lot of PvZ lately because it's a matchup that I personally struggle in, but I don't really understand where he's going with this. He is really hurting his own economy. Like, viOLet is going to have 3 bases up and running in the near future before this Nexus has even been warped in. And now an Oracle is indeed making its way to the 3rd base. There is no Spore Crawler here, but, you know, best case scenario is going to kill a Queen and maybe a few drones. There's no way he's going to kill this hatchery.
No, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's not like he has gateways coming down and a pylon to reinforce some zealots. Just a lone Oracle takes down the Queen. Mothership Core took a couple pokes, but now he's retreating. And Seed is in a situation where he has to get a lot of damage done because he spent so much investment getting this early Oracle out, but it's just not happening. The Oracle even gets taken out. Nice snipe there by that Queen.
I'm really like lost for words. I don't really know where Seed is going to take this or how he thinks that he's going to win this game. Because right now, he's already down 3 workers at 6 minutes and 30-second mark. Normally that doesn't happen. Zerg overtakes Protoss around like 6:45 with 7 minutes. Now he's already up in workers. He's only able to produce 1 probe at a time. This is really crazy to me. I guess that he really just banked on the fact that, you know, hopefully viOLet doesn't scout that quickly. I really think that's what it just all boils down to. He's going to warp in a few more gateways, a lot of gates going up right now at the same time. Does he have something out on the map? Well, we have this little guy. Crouching probe, hidden pylon.
You can make a little guy. Oh, he's stuck. Oh, he's smelling those flowers.
He's like, I really don't think this is a good idea, Seed. Let me just take a look at these flowers. Seed is like, nope, you're going to go in there, you're going to build a pylon.
It's going to pass right under that overload, I think. And he's actually putting a pylon right under the overload, or he was going to. There he is.
This is very unfortunate.
viOLet's going to see that, by the way.
I mean, unless the overload doesn't have eyes in his back.
True.
Yeah, this is going to be very tough. viOLet is also playing this safe. Okay, the pylon will be cancelled, but we already saw the Roach one. You know, viOLet is probably like, that was really strange what you just did there.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to be even more strange in the near future. Now a bunch of sentries are going to make their way across the map. Zergling speed is not ready yet, but I love this. viOLet is getting burrow. That is so smart. There's just no way for Seed to get any detection. There's no robotics facility. He is getting a forge right now, but you know, even if he just gets 5, 6, 7 roaches out, then he burrows. He shouldn't really lose a base, or he shouldn't lose too many drones.
All right, a significant amount of gateway units coming forward. I'm assuming the probe is still alive, hopefully, with this Protoss army. So he can put a reinforcing pylon.
He sent the probe back because I think he knows that the more he would warp in, the less likely this is going to work. So I think he's just trying to scare viOLet right now and be like, hey, make some units. And, you know, normally that's a really good thing. But viOLet is already up 13 workers. So, you know, viOLet would probably make some units regardless of what is happening out on the map or not. Of course, you know, right now he's realizing, hey, nothing is really going on. You're not even committing to this. So I'm going to go back to droning. But after this, maybe a few more drones. And then it's just going to be units and units only. And the tech from Seed is so incredibly delayed that I don't see how he's going up to 3 bases.
It's definitely going to be difficult. I mean, we're seeing a situation here where viOLet has a lot of units on the map, and he's about to be aggressive, and Seed doesn't have the standing army to really deal with that. So, I mean, he's going to come across the map. He's definitely going to recall right away. No?
I mean, a couple of the units are out of position, but he's on creep right now. There are queens, there is a spine crawler, and there is no pylon nearby. So, I don't think he's going to recall. I think he's just like trying to slow the economy down and maybe follow this up with an Immortal Sentry all in.
Right.
Very weird, and of course it's a lot later than it normally is. You know, this is the 10-minute mark. If this was a parting game and parting wanted to go for this, obviously he would have been already here in the natural, force feeding all the roaches to death. It was not possible for Seed to do it that quickly because of the Stargate opening and whatnot, but this is so late.
There's a War Prism. Try to do some fancy stuff where you drop a sentry on the high ground, do some force fields.
There are almost no overlords over here, all the way to the main base. That could actually be the way that Seed gets back into this game if he force fields viOLet out of his main.
Keep an eye on that. viOLet's still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. He has a overlord near the 3rd base of his opponent, so I think he still sees the lack of a 3rd there. Oh, couple roaches getting trapped.
You know, that's something. Picking up 4 roaches for almost nothing, just a few force fields, and there are so many sentries in his army. We have, is that 12 sentries?
That's a lot of sentries. A lot of force fields.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of force fields. At the same time, we also see viOLet being active on the other side of the map. It's a full wall off, so he knows, like, all right, you want to go. viOLet is going to go for the counter attack, which is going to force defensive warp-ins, and he might be able to break through, but it's also a little risky. That means that he might lose a lot of stuff on the other side of the map, but it could still be a really good position, because I don't see how Seed is going to be able to keep these roaches and zerglings at bay.
And remember, they have Burrow, too. Targeting down the gateways is viOLet, charging his way into the national expansion, trying to get into the main as well. Meanwhile, Seed is also attacking the 3rd base of viOLet. viOLet going to be forfeiting that. Let's see if a recall happens. Yes, it does. Going to try to get back and reinforce that national expansion. But again, some of these units are going to be vulnerable at first. viOLet continuing to charge forward. Seed with some phenomenal micro here, actually, to force field and split up those roaches. A lot of them doing absolutely nothing. So overall, Seed should be able to clean up this force.
Yeah, he will be able to clean up these roaches with that recall. Does he have an observer yet? Yes, he does have one single observer. So viOLet indeed losing a lot of roaches over here, but don't be fooled, because you can make a ridiculous amount of roaches or swarmos, as the invitation pitch did go down, off 2 bases with the economy that viOLet has. viOLet just needs to make sure that he keeps injecting. He seems to be a little low on gas, which is you know, remarkable considering the fact that he's only making roaches. I guess he took his extractors quite late.
I think viOLet has figured out the adoration our crowd has for swarm hosts and some brownie points.
That's really awesome that we have a crowd that loves swarm hosts. Otherwise, it would have been a dicey weekend. We don't have a whole lot of swarm hosts just yet. I'm a little bit surprised. Like, I guess he's just because he's so low on gas. That's why. Oh, he doesn't have roach speed yet. Wow, that's bizarre. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's had that later for a very long time. Okay.
I mean, this army, as soon as that Immortal falls, is not extremely good against roaches. But, you know, if there's no roach speed, it's going to be a lot easier for C to drop some really good force fields.
Yeah, he's trying to bait him up the ramp a little bit so he can split him in half, and now he sees the Locusts. So, PBZ Locusts, obviously we've seen them plenty of times in ZVZ in this tournament so far, LOL. How is this kind of going to continue forward, or what's kind of your approach when you play against the Locust and PBZ? Or the
it's pretty difficult, and it's also very strong against Protoss, and it kind of comes down to what kind of Protoss player you are. You know, some Protoss played extremely passive and just kind of try to get Tempest and Void Rays out and a big mothership and try to deal with it like that. There are some other Protoss players who just like go up to Colossus and try to slow down the Zerg economy, drop Zealots all around the map and try to snipe stuff with Blink Stalkers and then eventually just overrun the Zerg, because let's be honest, you know, Swarmos is not a very mobile army, and Protoss can be relatively mobile, especially with War Prisms and Blink Stalkers and whatnot. So it really depends on how you want to deal with it, but the Habitation Station is one of the better maps for Swarmos against Protoss, and Seed is going to take the gold base, which I'm a little bit surprised by, because that makes it easier for Swarmos to put some real siege on it.
Yeah, and not a lot of attack paths across the map. If you're wanting to be very dip and dodgy with your Protoss army, as you usually do against those Storm hosts, you want to be able to attack in a bunch of different directions, but there's really only one singular attack path here on Habitation Station to get to your opponent's side of the map, which is right down the middle. So Locusts and Swarm hosts definitely can be very effective. We see the gold being secured here from Seed. And if we're talking about from the early game to the mid game here, you know, we had some questionable ideas about what Seed's direction, but now it's kind of evening out a little bit, or you know, I don't think anyone has too clear of an advantage.
All right, we see double Stargate being wiped in over here for Seed, and the Void Ray production and also +1 air weapons being researched. So Seed seems to be the type of player that just likes to sit back, likes to try to get Colossus out, and then a lot of air units. Eventually Tempest probably as well. Right now he just doesn't really have the money for a free beacon and stuff just yet. Seed is definitely in a lot better position than I thought he was going to be at the start of the game, but I still don't really dig his position. I don't envy it. All of these Swarmos are really exposed because the Locusts were rallied in the wrong direction.
That's one way to do it. The Swarmos popping up a force field saying, you cannot leave. Gonna take out a few. One very lucky Swarm host.
Oh, at the same time, he didn't have a wall up at home though, so a lot of Zerglings are running by. They get an excellent scout up in the main. They might be able to get some damage done. And there are a lot of roach over here as well. viOLet doesn't want to commit his entire army, which I think is the right thing to do over there.
Both these players playing very patiently, playing very carefully, not really trying to go for any like mega aggressive pushes there. We saw viOLet just there retreating from the natural, not wanting to commit his entire army up that ramp. Behind this has that fourth base, and I think the move here is obviously set up the static defense and slowly start putting those, pushing those Swarm hosts forward while taking more of the map with bases.
He does have a hive as well already, so he could eventually get a couple of Vipers if he wants to. He also throws down double Spire, which is really interesting. That might give us the idea that he wants to go for a really big Muda switch, which is extremely good against Colossus Void Ray. Of course, if Seed picks up on it in time, then he can actually make Phoenixes, because he has 3 Stargates right now. Of course, he already had that 1 Stargate, then he wiped in 2 additional Stargates. He doesn't have a Fleet Beacon just yet, but if it would be a Muda switch and he sees it coming in time, then he could make a lot of Phoenixes, but it's all about the scouting information that gets done. And here we do see those Vipers, which I think is really smart, because this might be the phase in the game where Seed's army is actually very strong. He has Colossus, soon to be quite a few Void Rays, and Blink Stalkers. Where are the Swarmos? They're quite far out of position. I'm really surprised that viOLet let his static defenses be so exposed.
Yeah, you gotta keep him by those static defense to help supplement him. So Seed can say, okay, thank you, I'll take that. swoop in, take out the static defense, and then back away. He's going to be a happy camper after that trade. And we're seeing Corruptors actually coming out here for viOLet as a bit of a response to the Colossi, and of course potentially later Broodlords if he decides to go up to a greater Spire.
Yeah, Corruptors are awesome in a case like he abducts a Void Ray or anything like that, a Void Ray or a Colossus. That it's
Abduct
not just that it's not just the Swarmos and the Locust that can kill it, but Corruptors can also finish or get the job done. So in that way, it is very nice. viOLet is playing this rather passive. I haven't seen viOLet play a whole lot of Swarmos games just like this. You know, actually relying on abducts, relying on Swarmos. Okay. Here come those Vipers, a couple of Void Rays, and the Mothership Core will get abducted. Colossus, you come back. That's going to fall as well. Seed is losing a lot of expensive units over here.
Spore Crawler's there too, adding to that, supplementing all that damage from the Corruptors. Corruptors maybe a little bit mismicroed there. The Void Rays taking those out in a heartbeat. Roach is actually extending into the natural expansion of Seed. Doesn't have a lot back there to defend. And a little bit of a weird situation here. He has no opportunity to really recall because his Mothership Core died.
Wow.
So he's committing his entire army.
He does have Sentry, so he will be able to land a couple of force fields. But here come those Vipers again. Colossus gets abducted. There's just one more Colossus and one more Immortal. Other than that, it's mostly gateway units. How many Corruptors do we still have? All the Corruptors have fallen though. This is becoming pretty bizarre.
Roach is attacking all the probes at the natural expansion, ravaging that area, and now going to burrow and go into the main base. Yes, a very weird situation we have our hands now. viOLet still has a lot of swarm hosts alive, which again can be very, very cost efficient. So as we're seeing that right now, some of those taking out a lot of those expensive Protoss unit. Every single unit here is important for Seed. Unfortunately for him, they're all going to die. So it's a game here. It's a race. How much damage can he get done before those mighty Protoss heroes are taken out of this map?
I'm afraid, is he going to be able to get the Hive? No, I don't think so. There is a Queen over here as well. They will always drop a Transfuse on this Hive, if possible. Here come all the Locusts. The Hive is taking a lot of damage. Transfuse.
340.
He is transfusing, but
he's going to get it.
He's going to transfuse it. Transfuse, transfuse. And the Hive will live for now. Very well done there by viOLet.
Yeah, it will. Wow. viOLet with the clutch transfuse. And he still has Roaches alive in his opponent's side of the map. I think viOLet is in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, he's in an extremely good position. Seed fell all the way back to 25 probes. That was a really risky decision for our Protoss to go up in here after he lost the Mothership Core, because that's basically when you say like, hey, I'm going to be in here forever. viOLet played it out very patiently. Excellent crisis management, getting a couple of really important abducts up on those Colossus, so making those Locusts even more powerful than they already are.
Yeah, and that abduction of the Mothership Core very early on in that fight, really setting the pace for the next couple minutes of that game. I mean, it was, as we see Roaches coming to this gold base, and Void Rays going to be powering those down very quickly. Corruptors, you do not want to go over there. Wow. Okay, they're not. But anyway, as I was saying, Seed didn't really have an option to kind of retreat and deal with all those Roaches at his natural expansion. He was like, all right, my army's over here, I guess I'll try to get some damage done. But ultimately, viOLet with a little bit better decision-making there.
Yeah, viOLet did a fantastic job there. He did the right amount of damage with Roaches. He didn't send too many units that he couldn't possibly defend at home. It got a little close for a while, but in the end, it seemed like he was in control of it all along. And right now, he's cruising around 172 supply against only a 90 supply of a Protoss player that just doesn't really have an economy going for himself.
Yeah.
viOLet is making this look easy. It seems like he's just in control of things. And Seed seems to be doing like a little bit of everything. These Void Rays are kind of scary though, but we have 9 Infestors, we also have 6 Corruptors. The Infestors do get picked off. Well done there by Seed, getting a couple of those Infestors for free.
Got 3 Infestors taken out. Seed, any little advantage he can get at this point is fantastic for him. Definitely wants to keep those Void Rays alive. I always like to say, if you have Void Rays, you still have hope as a Protoss player.
He could actually just send the Void Rays in for me. He has to be careful, of course, when it comes to Fungo, but it seems like no Infestors are nearby. So Seed will be able to deny one of these bases of viOLet. That's something.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it. Take 3 Infestors here. Get a hatchery there. Slowly start bringing it back. We saw 63 to 28 in the Harvester supply. Of course, viOLet with a very nice advantage. So, you know, the composition viOLet's going for is not amazingly mobile. So I'm wondering when he's going to make that decision to really try to venture out and go for the kill.
Yeah, I wonder about that as well. He's making a lot of Hydras right now, and I almost feel with the Hydras, he wants to start attacking, but Seed did go back to producing Colossus. As silly as it's not, there might even still be a little bit of hope, because all these Void Rays, of course, do represent a pretty serious threat. And if viOLet is only... this is actually really scary, Zurkami. Who am I kidding?
Oh my gosh, here he goes.
I'm kidding myself. I'm trying to say there's hope.
Hey, he has Void Rays.
He does have Void Rays, but Void Rays do get fungled. There are a lot of Hydras, there are Locusts as well. Good fungal on these Stalkers, so Seed is going to lose a few Stalkers before the battle even starts.
Oh, super fun army here from viOLet. He's got all the spellcasters. He's got the fungal's about to go down. There we go, nailing those Void Rays. You cannot go anywhere. Actually, Axeltosh, you're a liar. You can go somewhere. Hitting the recall very quickly to retreat out of that fungal, but he's going to be having to forfeit this third base. Hydra's pecking away at that. But, I mean, Seed eventually has to face this army, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, there are two Vipers as well, which are full on energy. Did he lose all the spies? He's rebuilding a spy, and he already built 2 spies once. That's pretty bizarre. That's like the 3rd spy we see this game. Either way, so many Locusts, so many high energy infestors. We still have Vipers as well. The Voiders are going to try to clean this up right now, but it's going to be very, very tough. Another good fungal will land.
Yeah, another fungal landing there. And again, no energy for recalling, so you can't take the easy way out. There's an abduct onto the Voider and the Mothership Core. This is going to be probably the last major engagement of this game. Fungals locking them in place. And there's the GG from Seed. viOLet taking a 2-0 advantage. And honestly, he seems very calm, very cool, very collected. This has been a very straightforward best of 5 so far for him.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't even really started yet, and viOLet is up 2-0 in this series. The first game obviously a little silly with the tempo opening and then just like a big Roach follow-up. viOLet overrunning his opponent, not something you normally expect on this level, that the player is just going to die against straight-up Roaches, not even of like a massive economy or you know, being very far behind in the game. And then the second game, we had that crazy opening from Seed, like Stargate before Expand. Like,
that was strange.
When is the last time I saw that? That must have been Wings of Liberty, you know? Sometimes people try to mess around with that. It's a cool idea, and of course, you know, if it goes undetected, we are the first ones to say like, wow, that's awesome. He gets the Stargate so quickly, and he killed 15 drones, amazing, clap, clap, Seed. But it didn't really work out like that. It's a big risk that he takes, and now he's down 0-2 in the best of 5.
Yeah, it's a huge risk. As you said, of course, a lot of Protoss players like adamant about getting that Nexus as fast as possible. So it's usually very strange to see any other buildings before that National being placed down. But I guess he had confidence that he could get damage done with that Oracle. Got a bit of damage done, but not nearly enough to make it worth it, in my opinion. So we'll see how Seed kind of adjusts going into Game 3, but viOLet, he's in a phenomenal position, 2-0. Again, guys, you're watching the Lone Star Clash 3 live here from Austin, Texas. I'm Axeltosh. I'm joined by Rotterdam here on the casting desk. Of course, In Control has been hanging out with us as well, taking a much-needed break right now. That guy's a monster at casting.
He is. He just wants to go all day, every day.
He's a monster. I can't even understand. But huge shout-out to you guys in the crowd, by the way. Got to do that. There we go. I was waiting for some acknowledgement.
They're acknowledging you, Alex.
Good. I feel good now. And of course, all the people watching at home, thanks for spending your Sunday with us. And you Europeans,